Hey everyone, this video has been inspired by Nellie answer to the question of whether there is sexism in the atheist community, and by StealthBadger's subsequent video in which he defined what feminism really means. So it seems as if feminism has reared its ugly head again, and when I use the word ugly I mean pertaining to some of the comments being left by so-called free thinkers on Nellie and StealthBadger's videos, both of which I'll link in the crotch bar below. You know, these are the same kind of free thinkers who probably equate all Muslims with terrorism. I've made videos on feminism before. It's not something that I am afraid of admitting. As StealthBadger pointed out in his video, it's about equality between the sexes, not about one sex having superiority over the other. You know, no matter what bad seeds hijack the word and manipulate it to their own desires and bastardize it to make it fit their own agenda, feminism has always been about equality across the board between men and women. And I've also made videos where I've said I consider myself a feminist, and from what I can see, I don't get nearly the shit that some female YouTubers get, which in itself seems to be sexist. You know, why do women get more shit for standing up for themselves than men who stand up for them? I think old stereotypes come into play here. If men talk about equality for women, they could be seen as taking the stand while women sit in the background waiting for their roles to be decided by the males of the world. Therefore, sexists, the kind of people who leave these comments, have less of a problem with a man speaking about feminism than a woman. Although it's fair to say they still don't like people like me much who do stand up for the rights of women. But that's just my thinking anyway. The people who think that feminism is anti-family and anti-male have more in common with certain religious groups than they may like, because most of us have heard of statements put out by various right-wing Christian organisations that homosexuals are anti-family and are dangerous to kids, and that we shouldn't teach homosexuality in schools. They have had their way for too long, and they feel that their power as men is threatened. And if you corner a scared and frightened animal, it will try to bite back. Sadly, I think that the closer and closer these ideals get to extinction, the more ferocious the people that hold them are going to be. Of course, it's obvious why they have such a problem with feminism. It's upsetting the status quo, which has been, you know, largely white males with all the power for centuries. And lots of us on YouTube have seen the kind of vile that they can spew if they feel even the slightest bit threatened. Like, I don't know, if a woman speaks out about getting paid less than a man for doing the same job, or if a female has the audacity to speak out against her local elected officials for pushing through a strict anti-abortion bill. Evidently, to a certain section of the population, all feminists are man-haters who want to make men their slaves and force them at gunpoint to watch The Notebook or something. Which I think is very telling, because I think that in their minds they want the subjugation of women to continue, or at least the closest thing to it, and they're afraid that feminists think the same way they do. Either that, or they're women who don't want to rock the boat. The misogynists of the world can't seem to separate the minority from the majority. Some women hate men, so all feminists do. Where have we heard such razor-sharp reasoning as that before? On YouTube at least they have been told time and time and again the real definition of feminism. They've been given links to read, and yet still they persist. But then, why would they change? By not changing, they get to advance their own selfish agenda. Fear is a powerful tool, and against weak-minded people like the TFLers and misogynists, it's something that works very well. These people are pure bigots because they've been pointed out where they're wrong and where their reasoning is flawed. And yet they still continue to persist this faulty argument. They say that women are supposed to stay in the kitchen and look after the house. Well, who says? No, that's right, they do. But now, with ever-changing family roles and more women out getting jobs, some men may stay at home in the more traditionally female role. And you know what? They may even want to. Some men see this as the woman's job, and may even have some harsh things to say to the men who dare to stay at home and look after the house. Well, I'm sorry, pigs, but you have no one to blame but yourself. It's your own bloody fault. People like you made up these social positions for women to live in. For decades, this was the only socially acceptable place for a woman to be in society. You people constructed the woman's job to be in the kitchen using nothing more than a few brain cells that you can rub together, and then you cry when social and economic factors mean that women are allowed the freedom to get outside their house and try to, have their own lives. But one good thing about these constructs is that they are completely man-made. They exist only in your mind. They can change and become whatever you want them to be. There's nothing stopping you from thinking that staying at home and cooking and cleaning are manly things to do, apart from your own prejudices. But as we discussed, these kind of people do not like change. And hey, maybe we'll get to a place in the future where roles are not determined by what sex you are, where men and women can interchange numerous different roles in their lives and not be judged or put down by anyone. So yeah, if you want to call me pussy whipped, go right ahead. I know what I believe, and you'll believe what you want no matter what I say, so there's really no reasoning with you. Hopefully one day you'll meet the rest of us in the 21st century and realise a place where we can all have the same rights. It's not such a bad idea after all. I realise we're not there yet, but hey, a guy can dream, can't he? Cheerio.